to say Happy New Year. Okay, happy belated. I had that. Happy belated New Year 2023 first recording. Woo! It feels good to have taken that break. Welcome back to another episode of Be Different Podcast. I'm your host, Nekesa Esther, and today we have a very interesting guest. Of course, I mean, energy at 2023 is new, is refreshing, and the guests are the same, new, refreshing, and, you know, interesting stories. Welcome, Julie.
Thank you very
and
much.
And introduce yourself.
So, as you've heard, my name is Julie Nasuju. And, let's just maintain that name. My name is Julie Nasuju.
Yeah.
I'm a model.
Yeah.
I'm a mother of 4. I'm a chair lady of a foundation. I'm a loctician. I make people's dreads.
Mm-hmm.
I still MC and I still DJ. And a jack of all
wow. Hey, excuse me, please. That is the CV of a normal Nairobi resident. If you have to survive, I mean, you have to have like 4 or 5 things that you can juggle to survive the economic times. Anyway, so Julie is here and she's going to give us her story. And of course, the reason why I introduced you, or rather I asked you to come on board, Julie, is because of the vitiligo condition. Or you will tell us whether it's a condition, it's a disease, how exactly to call it. So you'll school us and you'll tell us how it is living with it, and you'll just take us through your story of how or when you discovered you have it and how the journey has been like.
Okay. So I'll start with vitiligo. What vitiligo is.
Yes.
Now, vitiligo is a skin condition. And it normally starts as a small spot and then it progresses slowly. So what causes it is mainly it's the melanocytes. Melanocytes are the cells that make your melanin color, which are normally weak or dead at the spots that you can see that I have the white patches. Yes.
Okay.
So where it's really white, the cells are dead. Where it's almost, they're weak. You can actually see with the patterns.
I can see. So that pattern doesn't change?
Well, it changes.
Yeah.
So from time to time, the patterns change, depending on what type of vitiligo you have. So there are different types of vitiligo.
Okay.
The first one would be, let me start with what I have. This is general vitiligo, or we call it scattered vitiligo. Vulgaris is the main name. And then we have segmental vitiligo, which affects one side, either the left side or the right side. And then we have focal vitiligo. Now, focal vitiligo focuses on one point and one point only. Now, that one doesn't grow. It's just focused on that spot only. Okay. And then we have now the acrofacial vitiligo, which affects the face, the hands, and the legs. Yes. Okay. And then we have the last one, which is a universal vitiligo, which normally starts from the small spot and progresses to the other types of vitiligo until you become fully white. And that basically the story for Michael Jackson.
Oh, yeah, by the way. I remember watching some documentary about him, and I remember, I read something to do with that.
Yes, so basically that is his story.
Oh, that's what happened to him.
And yes, you become white, but definitely you'll be left with some small spots, which people think maybe you can stay with it, or you might decide to buy an evening cream or just to bleach it out. Those small spots. You decide to become fully white. Yeah.
Okay, so when did you discover that you have this condition?
So basically, I got vitiligo when I was 1.5 years. I'm not the one who discovered it, it's my mom. But me coming to be aware of it is when I was around 5 years, 6 years, yeah.
School?
Yes. When I was in school and everybody was looking at me differently. So that's when I started seeing myself differently. Yeah.
How did you feel? Okay, so did you go home asking your mom? Just tell me, like, how did it make you feel first when the kids were either pointing or asking you about it or talking about it?
So basically most kids would come, because at that time my vitiligo was on my fingertips, as you can see. And most of them would come and touch my fingertips And I had some which were now starting at my eyelids and my nose and my lips, just a bit of it, and my ears, just small bits. And they would come and touch me and ask me what I've applied. Is it chalk? Is it... And I would go home and ask my mom how comes I have the white spot. But she'd always answer me, this is how God made you. Because she wouldn't give me a concrete answer.
At the time, at the time, was there anything you guys were applying? Was there any medication you were on? At
that time, my mom had started medication for me, and it wasn't working out, basically, because what she used to apply would actually trigger it to spread. Yeah.
But did you notice, you have siblings, right?
Yes.
So at the time, all of you are going to school. Ama, it's only you going to school.
At that time, it was only me. The rest was still small. At that age, 5,
but
6,
were you noticing there was a different routine when it came to you and the application as opposed to the others?
I kind of noticed it later. Later, I was never bothered with it until now when it started spreading at a high rate, and I was in class 3. Is when I started seeing myself in a different way, because now my other kids, my brothers have become big. Then they started going to school, and I'm looking at them and I'm looking at myself. We don't have the same routine in life. Because you find most of the lunch times, I used to find myself in hospital. I'm going for phototherapy sessions to help me be able to deal with the sun rays. And I would always ask why my lunchtime I'm not spending with the other kids, and that is when I started questioning.
So how did that affect you?
Well, let me just say, when I was in primary, I was more of a loner. I used to like keeping to myself, because now everybody, it's either they'll make fun of me or they'll start trying to play along with my skin. So I tend to put myself away from people.
And did you feel like the other students were always talking about you or pointing?
Because they were pointing like directly. They were not even hiding it. It was just direct pointing, and they would talk about it. Some would say, we are chomeka. Others would say, amejipaka makeup, ameamua kujipaka kwe white. No, so there was too much discussion that was going on. So you find even the kids who have grown up in Ushago, they were saying that I'm cast. So
how did that affect now going to teenagerhood, high school? Did you go to a boarding school? Or?
Now basically I can talk about before I finished primary. This is the time I was coming to my self-realization, and I was getting really tired and annoyed of all the bullying and being made fun of. And I remember there was just one particular girl who used to
be on your case.
She used to be on my case like 24/7. Even when I'm at home and I imagine I'm going to meet her the next day.
You get a heartache.
So kulikuwa these fights which normally used to come at the end of the term.
I know them. So I'm wanted.
So this thing, I got tired of her making fun of me, and I told her I'm going to close the day with her. The term with her. And we actually fought. And I won, though I was punished.
Kwani mko mnenda home? So watu napigananga
wakienda kwa shule. Ndo mwende home.
So you guys were caught?
We fought for some time, and now it attracted like everyone in school until the teachers came. But I won the fight, and I think that's when I started seeing myself in a different perspective. Because after that time, because it was the first time when I was in class 8, now the rest of the time no one used to make fun of me. Everybody kept their distance from me.
But you are, this was the way to deal with them.
So basically I finished my primary school like that. So when I went to high school, basically I knew there was this bullying and all that is going to happen. And I was avoiding, I didn't want to deal with people, because already I've dealt with that in primary. I didn't want to deal with again this story again. So I told everyone that vitiligo is contagious. And basically, mark you, vitiligo is not contagious.
Okay.
I cannot touch
after
your
what
cup.
You have explained,
I cannot touch your cup and you get it. I cannot share your clothes and you get it. No. The only way maybe you might get it is maybe my child.
Yeah.
Because maybe my child might get.
Genetics.
Yeah,
Okay.
genetics. And it's a 50-50 chance.
Okay.
You might get, you might not get. But maybe there may be 4th generation or 5th generation or 3rd. There's someone who will get.
Yeah. So, okay. Point of just curiosity. So have you ever found out who passed it down to you from your...
Kinda.
You figured it out?
Yeah, finally
or you've been told?
No, kinda I figured it out.
Okay.
Basically, my mom has vitiligo. It has started showing right now.
Oh my goodness.
All
Okay, now that I know her,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just...
All this time, we didn't know.
Yeah.
But recently is when I've noticed she's having a few spots of vitiligo. And I'm like, Mom, I can see you.
Oh.
And she's like, she didn't even have, she didn't know.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know who she got it from, but it was hidden.
That's
Because right now at her age, she's almost she's 60. Yeah, she's at that age is when we are actually saying it coming out. We didn't see it before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
And I'm the 3rd born, so you see that generation.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Now continue. You went to high school. You told people.
Yeah, it is contagious. That is how I overcame my first Form 1, you know, you're always bullied. No, so every time I hang my clothes, no one will touch my clothes. So I've hung. I leave my bucket there. I'll find it there. And that's how I was able to pass through. But now my Form 1 was very lonely because now no one wanted to be my friend. But later on is when everybody started noticing, we don't think this thing is real. And because I'd gotten one of my friends and she was like, are you sure this thing is not contagious? And then I told her, yeah, it's not contagious, and it's just that I had to overcome. I didn't want to be bullied, but either way, I'd finished Form 1 and the Form 4s had gone, and now I'm Form 2 and I'm okay. So
you started being the bully now.
I didn't become a bully because I remember that time I was really into CU and in Christian Union. I was more of mentoring and helping out people. So I don't think anyone could say I bullied them when I was in high school.
So your high school was really almost like a breeze.
Yeah, it was a breeze.
Because you know those teenager years, I find them very disturbing, especially when you're trying to figure out, okay, what is this, what's going on? And then plus boarding. Yeah. Everyone has stories about boarding schools.
Yeah, everybody has stories. Now for me, I'd already kind of embraced myself a bit. And I think the only challenge I had is when we were going for games, because I was very active in drama and music festival and games. I was very good at handball. And now that is when I see the challenges, because in school everybody had gotten used to me. I used to sing in CU, I used to all these things, so people had gotten used to me. Now going outside is when people are not used to me. Now you meet with people who are staring at you. People don't want to come near you because they don't know. And now they're asking like my teammates, what's up with your goalkeeper? And she's not socializing. Why does she stay in the bus all the time? And for me, basically, even why I used to stay in the bus so much is because of the sun. Because vitiligo, you're normally affected by the sun. Remember, you don't have melanin. Melanin is what protects you from the sun rays. So every time the sun burns, sun is out, and you don't have sunscreen or anything that is protecting you, shielding you from the sun, you end up burning. And burning, I mean, like, you see the way when you're maybe frying something with oil, and the oil kind of splashes on your skin, and you end up having a small blister that has water.
That's what the sun does to you.
That's what the sun does to us. So the places where you're white, you find the water drains and comes to there and looks like a blister or a boil.
Wow.
Yes.
So is there like a specific sunscreen or
There's
something?
no specific sunscreen. You just need to find what works for you, like the percentage that works for you. Because for me, I can say my skin is kind of, because I've lived with vitiligo for the longest time, it's not that strong. Even a small bit of sun rays without sunscreen, I get burned. Oh, very small.
What is not that strong?
my melanin.
Oh,
because you know,
yes,
for the longest time. You might find someone who has vitiligo and still they're able to handle the sun, but not so much. they still need sunscreen. But for like me, someone like me, I noticed that I get burnt very fast. It might even take me just 15 minutes and I'm really, really burnt.
Okay. Yeah. So you were the goalkeeper, but yet after the games or before the games, you're in the bus?
In the bus. And when outside would be just when we are playing. And actually I noticed this when, I didn't know even me myself. I noticed this when I was in Form 2, Form 3, around there, almost third term of Form 2. We had gone for these games. It was the final. It was a competition and we were in an open ground. There were no trees, there were no anything, and the bus was really far. So I didn't know that I get burnt by the sun. So I remember it's a 2-day game. And the first day was on Saturday, and when we were playing the games, I was seated outside in the sun, like, and then you go and play and then back. Then that day when you're going home, everybody's asking me, what's up with you? Why are you so red? I was red, completely red, and everybody's like, you're so red. Are you okay? Are you okay? And that time, I'm feeling like my skin is really on fire. Even just to pull even a cloth like this, even just to do this, I'm feeling pain.
Wow.
So, but now, the next day we're also going for games, and I can't say no because we're going to play. So I still went out again. And now this is where I got burned, seriously. And now my whole face, my whole body is swollen. It's swollen up. Every part of every part that I had vitiligo, which was white, was now having a blister. It had water. Goodness. My lips were down. Everything was swollen. And now I had to go to hospital. I had to go to Aga Khan hospital. I was placed there. Now they tried to remove water. I stayed there for medication over a week, trying to be treated. And that's when I knew I'm not supposed to be near the sun.
Yeah. So this has been a challenge that you've been learning as you go.
Yes.
Because I mean, you're far from your mom.
Yeah.
At this time, and you're discovering all these things by yourself.
By myself.
It must have been so lonely.
It was a journey. It was a journey. And also it was a journey for her. Remember, I got it when I was 1.5 years, and she didn't know what it was. And she had gone to many hospitals trying to look for medication, and she's not getting an answer. And now she's putting me on every single different medication. She's trying to get rid of it, because now even at home, her sisters, her brothers are asking her, what's up with your child? You see?
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Well, so my question. Now, after, I wanted you first to tell me how lonely that journey was, but then, so tell me, so how are the siblings handling you?
Basically, our firstborn, that is my big brother and big sister, we're not of the same dad, but yeah, we were the same mom. But now they grew up in Shags. They didn't grow up with us. Okay. Now me and the rest of my brothers are the ones who grew up in Nairobi. Yeah.
Those are the ones that I know. Yeah. So how was your relationship between now you growing up and you having this condition at home?
For them, I think also for them it was a challenge. They've never given me their side of their story, how they used to perceive me. They've never told me. But I don't know. Sometimes I always wish they would tell me how they think about this condition and all that. But yeah, we've never had that conversation with them. But my mom, we have had this conversation with her, and she told me she went through a stigmatizing situation at the beginning, before I knew myself and before I came into terms into accepting myself, which was really a journey, because I remember as much as I would say when I was in high school that things were kind of looking up, but after high school my life changed.
Tell me about it.
And now I met with life and life itself.
Tell me about it now. After high school, what happens?
So basically after high school, things weren't so well at home, and now mom has reached a point that she's telling me will not be able to pay for you to go for your higher studies, but you need to start working. So you need to get out and look for work. And I remember now the biggest challenge was getting a job. Which now I went to a supermarket at first to try and get these jobs for the supermarket as an attendant. and I was rejected severally. But I think the one that stuck in my mind was when I went in Parklands, and the owner of the place really discriminated me to a point I felt, no, this is too much. Because I remember when she said, I cannot employ you here, you'll infect my customers. And I'm like, how am I infecting your customers? And things are packed in papers. How am I infecting them?
Yeah, not even that. It's not infectious. It's not contagious.
Yeah, and I think that was the one that really.
So you felt like people looked at you while
Yeah.
you're coming in to get an opportunity, and it was a definite
No.
no. They
Because
turn
of
you
how I
down.
look, yes. I tried to work in the hotel industry, which I was really good at it, but things didn't work out. Most of the time, you'd find there was always complaints. Maybe the customers didn't want me to serve them. Some things like that. There were so many people, because of ignorance, they don't know what this is, and you find people are dismissing you very quickly. Yeah. So
how
that
long
was
did
a
it
challenge.
take you to get a job, actually?
Well, I went through a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then finally, I decided to run for marriage.
Okay, we are not supposed to be laughing.
No, let me
That's a
just laugh.
serious thing, yeah.
Let me just laugh because I can't cry.
You
Some
thought
days
now marriage is
downstairs.
your way out. Yeah, well, welcome to character development.
So I wanted to get married. And so I remember I ran away from home because I wasn't feeling like I don't want to be at home.
Yeah.
My bros they're going to school, and then me, I'm here. I'm feeling like I'm wasted. I just need to get out of the house, and I'm not getting any job. So I remember I got pregnant with my first child when I ran away.
Yeah.
And when I came back home, I didn't even know I was pregnant.
Wow. You went away for how long?
For like 2 months.
2 months.
Yes.
Pap!
When I
come
come
back to your
home,
mother.
yeah, I come back home to my mom, and then she's asking me, "Hey, you're changing. Have you had your periods?" And I'm like, "No, actually, no." And she told me, "Let's go to hospital." And then find out that I'm pregnant. And so the first thing my mom is asking me, "Where is the father of this child?" So I introduced the father of the child. My mom calls for a meeting, like all those family things, and so we have so that they can have a sit down and agree about the child, because now I've gotten pregnant, and she wants me to go to continue with my life. Either I get married, or we know the way forward. And at this incident, I remember the mother to
the guy.
The mother to the guy kind of rejected me. That was the first thing she did. She said, "No, my son cannot be married to that type of girl." Yes. This is the conversation they had with my mom, my stepfather, and the others, the uncles and the mom. And the conversation was, "No, my son cannot marry such a girl." No. Yeah, she refused, and she actually offered my mom money for me to abort the child. Let's not forget, my mom is a pastor. She's a woman of God. So my mom was like, "No, even if you're not going to take care of the child, why are you offering me money to kill this child? Why are you not thinking about my child? My child might die when she's trying to remove the child." No. And my mom decided we'll keep the child, and that's how
that's it.
that ended.
Wait, I want to find out about your relationship between you and the guy. So first I wanted to find out, has this thing affected your self-esteem?
Yeah. Remember,
And then now
it has already affected me. I'm not getting a job, I'm not getting anything. I'm feeling like I don't want to be like I'm begging at my mom's place, and I'm trying to look for somewhere I can run to.
Yeah.
You see.
So
And I'm also looking for that like affection, to feel like I belong.
Yeah.
So this guy, yes, he gave me that for those 2 months and all that, and I felt like I have someone.
So did you guys fall out?
Yeah, we fell out.
That's why you went back home.
It was
Just
not like
the two of
falling
you?
out. It was just like I decided to go back home because even that time I had left, I was actually looking for my biological father.
You were really trying to find yourself.
Yes.
Wow.
It's a journey and a half.
So now you're pregnant, your mother-in-law
Yeah.
has
said
said
no.
my boy is not getting married to this girl.
Yeah. So I'm here pregnant, the first child, and I'm like going through a lot. And the good thing, mom was there for me, but she was really tough on me at that time, because now things have changed.
Yeah.
In church, where I was leading in praise and worship and all these things, now everybody's looking at me differently. And I started falling out, even in church, because there wasn't that affection you'd expect. So I always felt like nobody wanted to be near me, that because now I'm looking as the worst sinner.
Play card, sinner.
Yeah, so I gave birth to my child, but before I gave birth to my first child, I remember I'd met someone else who really took care of me many times, like counter times, and we kind of had a thing after I got my first child. He was there throughout, and then when the child was almost 6 months, is when now I started being serious with the guy, and we started dating and all that. We became serious now. And then after some time, because at that time, actually, to be honest, I always tell people that, but people don't actually believe. Having vitiligo, you find that your antibodies and your body, your hormonal, you have hormonal imbalance. Remember, your cells are fighting things, so you end up having hormonal imbalance. So I'd started family planning, but it actually did not work for me.
Wow.
It did not work for me.
So these
So
are
I got
like pills?
Yeah, I was taking pills, and it did not work for me. I got the second child.
Ooh.
Did
you go back home?
I got the second child, and that time when I got the second child, my mom was like, she was going haywire.
We are packing you and tying you down in this house.
So after getting the second child, my mom now she was really mad at me. The good thing, my stepfather came through for me, and I gave birth to my second child. I actually named him after my stepfather because he was the one who was there for me at that time. And it was a journey. I remember raising that child for those 2 years, and at my mom's place was not easy. It was not easy because these are 2 kids, and then they've not left each other so far. It's just 1 year and a half is the only difference that is there. So the speed is up, down, and it was really hectic. Yeah. Now, I remember the time my mom was always asking, "What's up with you? Why are you running for relationships and all that?" But I was trying to find myself, and I was feeling like I'm alone. Because when I was young, remember, I was used to being by myself. I had no one to confide in with all these things happening in my life. So I had kept a lot inside of me. And that time I didn't know I was under depression, actually.
I can imagine.
I didn't know. And I didn't know what depression was. I didn't know all these things. So I was just living life as it comes. As it comes. So after some time now, after my kids were around 2-3 years, one was around 3 years, and the other one 4 years. Is now I met the father of the third child.
All this time, are you doing something for yourself in terms of money?
No, I was at home taking care of my kids and my mom. I couldn't get that opportunity to go that out. Now, this time I'm meeting this guy is when I'd left home. I left home and I decided I wanted to try and help out in the bills in the house and all these things because now I'm the one who's brought up all these things that are becoming hectic, and I really wanted to get a job. So the time I left home, I went and worked at a hotel and I was peeling potatoes. Wow. I was peeling potatoes and then I'm paid 100 bob a day. Now that 100 bob was just for survival for myself. Because I was eating in the hotel and a friend of mine had given me somewhere to sleep. I was sleeping at the couch. And I worked only for a month doing that, and then my mom found out where I was. After she found out where I was, she brought the kids. Story and a half.
At your workplace, somewhere where you were living?
At my workplace.
Oh, goodness.
She brought them. Then she told me she wants me to take responsibility of my kids. And she left.
Wow.
So she left, I'm with my kids, and I'm wondering. Now, I'm only being paid 100 bob. Now, this friend of mine where I'm staying, you know, they're a couple. They have given me the couch. The guy says, no, she's not coming to the house with those children.
Wow.
Now we were left homeless with my kids. We spent like 2 days like having nowhere to sleep. Actually, I remember I used to walk around. I can't even say because these days it's something that it is my journey, it's my story. We used to walk from, is it Uthiru, Kino, all those areas. I reach up to Regan, and then I turn around at the roundabout, I go back. That was my journey. I was just going round that as those 2 days.
Thinking, wondering.
Yeah, wondering what to do with my kids. And I'm trying to talk to maybe the few friends that I'd made who can help me out. No one wanted to help me out. So I remember the lady where I was staying at her place, she had my mom's number. She called my mom and she told my mom, you know, your grandkids are suffering. Forget about Julie, but your grandkids are suffering. Try and see how you can help her out. And then now that's when my mom called me, told me to look for the smallest house I can get, she will pay. And I started my journey there.
Okay.
So I got us a small house. We entered with nothing. Yeah. So basically our clothes were our mattress. And then we were covering ourselves with at least a shuka or the shawls that I had for the kids. And I started life from there.
Yeah. Wow.
Now, at this time now the kids are here. So I went back to the place I was peeling potatoes and I was asking her, kindly can you add me the salary because now I have kids and they need to feed. So she agreed to add me another 100 bob. So that was 200.
And where are you leaving them?
I had to leave them in the house. I would only tell the landlady, kindly look after them because now I can't stay here and they don't have food. I can't.
Wow. 4 and 3-year-old.
Yes.
Oh.
I can. So I'd go peel the potatoes and all that. Luckily, there was a bar which was nearby. And they were looking for someone who can be doing cleaning, which to me, I took it, that's an added advantage. Now this one's, they were paying around 400 shillings. And I was like, I can be able to do both. Just in the morning, I wake up, go wash the classes, wash the club, and then go now start peeling potatoes until time to leave. And I would get like 600 shillings at that time. So I was able to feed my kids at that time and take care of them, but I wasn't able to pay the rent.
Your mom said she
pay. She paid, she paid for like, she supported for like 2-3 months, but later on she stopped paying. But during that time I was able to manage to buy a mattress, to buy things like that. Another thing, the story is I entered the bar.
When you started washing?
Washing and all that. I remember at that time, one of the waiters stopped working and they came and asked me, can you work as a waiter? Your salary will be this amount and all that. And I was like, yeah, why not? Because now I need the money to be able to pay rent and to buy things in the house. And I was like, yeah, I can. And so I stopped peeling the potatoes and I started working at the bar. Full time. Now, working at the bar was another experience. This is now when I met people who are drinking and all that, and how they were receptive over me kind of made me like being there. Because there were no judgments in the bar. And now, I remember when I first took alcohol, and I'd find that the anxiety I used to have and panic that how people are seeing me used to just disappear. And I used to feel good. Now, the real me used to show up and smile. I serve the clients and I'm smiling, I'm happy, I'm jovial. And I started thinking, this is actually my way out. This is how I should be dealing with how people look at me, and it used to affect me a lot at that time. Because remember, I hadn't come to the point of accepting myself. So finding that was a way I was being able to deal with it. And I found myself, I've gone deep and deep and deep into alcohol. Because now I started working as a waiter, and I went on. I moved to a point, I became a cashier. I moved from there, I became like the chick who remains.
But you had
not in one place, actually. Now from there, I'm moving from step to step, and I'm going to bigger and higher clubs. As I'm working.
But you're earning your money?
Yes, but I'm earning my money.
And are you still taking care of your kids?
I'm still taking care of my kids, but I'm still drinking.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, I found myself, like, at this point, I'd become someone, I was drinking a lot. Now I stopped even going home. The only time I used to go home was when I was really high. I need to sleep, and I sleep for 2 hours, and I wake up, and I'm back to work.
Home, this is here,
now that
home in your house?
Yes.
You never used
to I never used to spend even time with my kids. So I remember there's a lady I met. Now this is the story of how I met the father of my third child. There was this lady who had asked me for a place to sleep, and I showed her a place to sleep. And I gave her that space. I didn't know her that well, but she needed somewhere to stay. So I allowed her to be staying at home, because most of the time I'm not even at home. I'm either in the bar working, or I'm drinking, or having a good time in area. And I would leave them there, and the house girl would tell me everything that is going on at home. So apparently the chick never used to shower, never used to do these things. And that really affected me, because even if me, myself, I'm outside there, I always used to come back and shower. But now there's a lady staying in the house, and she's dirty, and my kids are seeing. That was a no-no.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And I started asking her, why are you doing shower and all that. So there's a day now she invited I don't know if it was a boyfriend or it was a friend. So invited to come to the house at night. And my kids are there, and the house held. And it's a small house. It's not a big house, just a single room. And she brought them there, and it was really not good. And I don't know what actually happened there, but at the house girls, when I just came in the morning, funny thing, this time I came home early in the morning. And then the house girl was telling me, your friend came here with a guy, but the guy disappeared in the middle of the night. We don't know what happened. They kind of fought or something and left. So now this guy, I asked, how did this guy look? So I asked the girl, show me the guy who you brought in this house, because I really don't understand how someone can come to the house and know that they're kids, and you come to the house with them. So first thing first, show me the guy. So after seeing the guy, nikawasomea with both of them. I'm like, if me, myself, I respect my house, why can't you two respect my house? Why would you do something of the sort in front of my kids? And I remember I told that girl, just pack your things and leave. And now this guy was apologizing, like, all that. I didn't know that was what was happening, all that and all that. So after that, I closed the story, landed. And they apologized, and everybody moved on. I told her to leave. So, as still I'm going to work, the guy used to come to the house, still. Oh. Yes. The guy used to come to the house and hang around with my kids. So when I come home, like the next day in the morning, I'm being told, uncle alituletea sweetie, alituletea nini, ametubaia chakula, nini. So every time I'm going to give the house girl money, and she's telling me, there's no need, there is food. Tuko na pesa, tushanunua chakula.
From where?
So I started asking from where. Ule kijana alikuwa amekuja, ni yeye anakujanga bado. I went back and asked. Went back now. I looked for him and, why do you keep on coming to hang around my kids when I'm not there? No, your kids are good, nene, like that. So basically that's how we started dating.
Oh, without that guy.
Yeah. So that's how we started. And we dated for a while and became serious. I met the sister, I met the whole family. And yeah, we kind of got serious to a point even the parents knew about us. And then I got pregnant with my third child. And after giving birth to my third child, I think that's where everything changed. And life became a different story. And it was good, yes, but it was bad.
Yeah.
Because now this time I've given birth to my child, and the guy I started treating the other kids differently. He would show love when there are other people around, or when I'm around. But when I'm not around, the other kids are suffering. And that took a turnaround even to my own kids, the other two. And they started feeling diminished and all that. I started noticing a difference especially with my second born, because my second born, you started peeing on himself. And so I started asking him, you're past the age of peeing, what's happening? Why are you always like this? And I always tell every single parent, if you see your child has started peeing on themselves, and they had already passed, there is something wrong. That should be a red flag for you to check out what's happening around. Because the biggest indicator in a relationship should be your child. As innocent as they are. So I started asking why, and I remember when I told my mom, my son had started peeing on himself, I was like, why? What's happening? What's happening? Are you sure your son is feeling safe? What's happening? So I didn't know what used to go around when I'm not around. So I started staying.
You're still working at night?
No, I'd stopped because now.
Oh yeah, you have a newborn. Okay.
Yeah, I have a newborn. I've stopped, and now the things have changed. And now he got a job now in town. He stopped working where he used to work, and he got a job in town. And I think that job kind of affected the whole relationship, because this is where things started changing. He started not coming at home. He started not sending money. Things started becoming violent at times. At times are good, at times are bad. But now the violence ended up affecting me psychologically, mentally and physically. Because still, I remember the first time we fought, I think, it was around that time I was getting to know you. That I think is when the fight started. Because the first fight was I'd gone home in Ngong to see my mom. And then I came home late.
That was a fight, a reason, a cause.
Just because I came home late and the child was supposed to be breastfed, and I had removed some milk for the child, but still, it became an issue. It became an issue, and we fought that day. I didn't know why, because remember he removed me from the bed and he started just beating me, just like that. And I think that was the turnaround for everything. We started having constant fights in front of the kids and all that. And we ended up separating after that, after some time. That is, I'd given it a chance like 3-4 times. So, yeah, the relationship ended after 4 years.
4 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
It landed. And yeah, it ended like that. So from that time,
you have your 3 kids
my
now.
3 kids now. I had to go back to my mom's place and start life afresh. So I started working again, trying to look for jobs and all that, which was also stressful. But during this time...
At this time, wait, when you found out you were pregnant, you haven't told us, so how did you stop drinking? You stopped drinking?
Yeah, for me, it's
when
normally instant.
Yeah.
Because now I have someone in my stomach, and to me, I'm always careful, because the way my mom raised me is, she raised me in a Christian way. So basically, for me, this is a child, this is a human being I'm carrying. So I used to stay away from alcohol every time I'm pregnant and taking care of my child. I'm off. I'm off the alcohol and love. But now I've gone back to my mom's and all that. Now everything hits me. Pap. Again, I'm back home with my kids.
With 3 kids.
Three
Your
kids.
mom has prayed
Well,
all
yeah,
kinds of prayers. I can imagine.
It's prayed. She said, so she looks at me and then she's like, oh my goodness. But she tells me, you just stay here. It's rather than losing you, just stay here.
Yeah.
So instead, and then I'm like, I need to look for work because this can't be the story again. So I decided now to look for my real biological father.
The journey.
Now I start asking my mom questions. I need to know where he works. I need to know all these questions and all that. So I had some little money that I'd saved up. I actually hired a private investigator to get my dad. So after getting his contacts and all that, I reached out to him and all that. We kind of had a meeting. Now during this meeting, he looked at me very differently. Now he was looking at me and then he's asking me, this thing, why is it still spreading? Why do you look like this and all that? Let's do this. Let's go to hospital. They draw your blood and we try and see if you can come up with a medicine. And now me, my mom was already told me this is a rich guy, so I know. Oh. In my head, I'm like, he can actually do that. So I allowed. 2 weeks down the line, now my biological father calls me up and tells me, you know the time I drew your blood? Yes, I also did a DNA test. And I'm like, without my consent. And he says, well, that's none of your business. And I'm like, okay. And what were the results? And he's like, you know, you're not my daughter. And so I tell him, okay, I'm not your daughter, then give me the papers so I can go and ask my mom. Because my mom was clear who you are.
Oh my goodness.
Give me the papers, I go and ask my mom. So I go ask my mom. No, I didn't even go at that time. Though I've asked him to give me the papers, and then he refused with the papers. And then he says, but I can still help you out. I can still give you money, but it will be under a condition. I'll give you a house, I'll give you a driver, I'll give you a company to run. And so I'm like, my dreams are about country and all that. But now I asked, what is the condition? And the condition turned out to be even sadder. The condition was I have to be sleeping with him.
My goodness.
So at that time when he told me that, I think that was my breaking point.
Yeah.
And I remember that time
I'm like,
tears
I'm
were just
thinking
flowing.
You're my dad. How
Yes.
can you tell me that? And
Even
he's telling
if-
you that on phone.
No, this is a one-on-one conversation.
You guys went and met up.
Yes. This is a one-on-one conversation. So he tells me that and tears are just rolling out my eyes as I'm looking at him because I'm in shock and tears are falling. So I'm just staring at him and I'm crying. No words.
First he's telling you I'm
No,
not your dad.
I'm not your dad. And then you're telling
and then
me now
he's
you...
giving you all these things and then
But in
attached to-
condition.
Oh my goodness.
And then I'm like, in my head, I'm like, even if you're not my dad, I'm pretty sure you've been with my mom and you want to be with me.
Imagine.
Now all these things are flowing in my head and I'm looking at him and I'm not able to talk even. I'm just in shock. So I got angry. And then he started calling the bouncers to come and remove me. So I told him, don't even call the bouncers. I'll walk out myself.
Really?
And I left that place. I entered the matatu. I went somewhere. I cried. I cried. And you know, my first instinct was, let me go and drink. Do you know actually that day I did not go and drink?
Wow.
I just cried and I was like, this shall not be my story. This cannot be happening to me. As in, people are taking advantage of me and all these things and all these things. And it hit me, and trust me, 2 days later was the turnaround of my life. And I started seeing myself, I was like, I think it's the way I see myself that is making people take advantage of me. I need to change how people are looking at me. And it will have to, how I see myself is what will make me change how people are seeing me around. And let me not lie to you, that was the turnaround of my life.
Yeah.
2 days later, I'd gone just for a function. It was actually, I don't know if it was a wedding or what. It was an event I went. And it was in an open door. And remember this time, all these things are in me and I'm feeling a lot of pain. So I didn't want to stay near people. I was just sitting by, like at the tent, I'm outside the tent by myself, under a tree. I'm just looking at things and how people are living their lives. And there was this photographer who was just passing by and took a picture of me. So after taking a picture, he just approached me and told me, do you know actually you're photogenic?
Oh.
And I was like, really? And then he was like, no, just look at this photo, look at this photo.
Yeah.
So me, I'm just seeing myself and I'm like, well, it's just me. Niambia, no, look at it very, very well. You're detailed to the core. So he explained to me and I was like, okay. And then he asked me, can you come to our studios? We do a photo shoot for you.
Oh.
So to me, I was like, this is an opportunity. So I started seeing myself in another perspective. So I went for the photo shoot. After doing the photo shoot, he spread my photos around to different studios and companies, and I ended up being called up for a video shoot. Now, that time is when Sauti Sol were starting to rise, and they actually agreed to work with me that time. And I remember when I was told you'll actually do a video shoot with Sauti Sol, I was not believing. I was even crying tears.
Yeah.
After all these things I've gone through at that time,
Yeah.
I was even shedding tears and all that. So I started seeing myself as a model now. Because now I've gone even for the video shoot, how I was being dressed, everything. I was like, actually, I could actually do something with this.
Yeah.
And I started researching about vitiligo and all these things. I said, now that is when I started doing my research. Everything about myself. And, well, that's how I started my modeling career.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where? Our hearts. My heart is already like, it has really gone on to that journey. And so, can you say that photographer, because I mean, if you didn't do what he did, he really pushed you to, like you said, look at yourself differently.
Yes, exactly.
How has that journey been? Do you always have to be reminded? Do you always have to be reminded that
apparently,
Julie, you're the model, or Julie, you look good, or you have something special?
Apparently, no.
It's
Apparently,
settled?
No, it's settled. Actually, when I started doing research about vitiligo and I got to know everything about it, I started looking at it at a different perspective. Remember, I've entered the arts world. Yeah. Now I started looking at my patterns in an artistic manner. I stopped looking at it as a condition, as in a sickness that I need medication to make it to disappear, or a disability. And I started seeing it as art. And actually that changed my perspective towards vitiligo. Because now I'll start looking at the patterns that my vitiligo is forming. And the funny thing, I always tell people that it forms different types of things. And like this one that I've drawn a tattoo. If you look at it, it formed an Africa by itself, but it is inverted. It formed by itself. I just decided to draw around it so that I can still remember there's a time it drew Africa around there. And then on this side, it had started forming the map of Kenya, though right now it's changing. Right now it's changing, but it had started forming the map of Kenya. And so I decided to put the flag of Kenya there, just so to remember. Don't forget. Yes. And basically I started getting interested in my patterns. And I'd wait. Sometimes, like that time I had a love heart on my finger. It changes from time to time. Then the patterns are changing. So I started looking at it in an artistic manner. And you know how interesting is it that your patterns change. You're not, you're unique. You don't look like everybody else. So I started seeing myself in the perspective of uniqueness. That I'm not like everyone else. And maybe that's the reason why I had to go through a lot to be able to notice the difference in me. So basically that has been a journey since 2015. It has been a journey for me. Every year, every time I'm growing and I'm getting to know much about my talents and everything that I'm talented in, and I'm embracing it.
I even feel like, Julie, your voice has changed. Like when we met, you never used to talk like this, but now you have so much confidence, so much boldness. Like how you're delivering everything, you know. You walked in and I was like, woo, that's the Julie. I did not leave you like that. You know, you were a shy girl.
Yes. And as I'm telling you, things like I started discovering my talents and all what I'm capable of. And I started speaking out.
Yeah.
I started speaking out about vitiligo, about my journey. And I found that I'm changing people's lives. Like, if I give someone my story and they're like, so I'm not alone. So actually this journey is really tough. When you tell people who you've gone to look for work and you're actually certified to get a job and you're not getting a job because of how you look, it's really sad. And I started saying, no, this can't be just me. I want to look for people who look like me.
That was my next question. When was the next time you met someone who has vitiligo?
Actually, funny thing, I remember after the video shoot and all that, 2 weeks later, there's a place I decided to go and have a drink to celebrate this, yani. And it's not like I was drinking that much. It was just like I wanted to see people. I wanted to hang around people now because I stopped being a loner because my life now started changing. So I wanted to see people, to see their reactions. I started seeing things in a different way. I stopped seeing like the wishy and the diminishing. I wanted people to see the boldness and all that, what is happening in my life. So when I went, there's a place I went and somebody called me, do you know, there's a friend of mine who has vitiligo and looks like you, and he normally drinks over here. So we met up with the guy had vitiligo and it was on their face and all that, and he was drinking and having fun in a club and all that. And I was like, whoa, this is interesting. So when we met, and then he told me like he was the chairperson of Vitiligo Society of Kenya, and I was like, yeah, there's even a society.
Imagine.
And we met up, and then he told me, we'll organize a meeting. You meet the secretary and all that, and we started discussing. So when I entered the group, actually, after doing the video shoot, you know, now my mind and perspective has changed. So they're telling me these projects that they've always wanted to be doing, but they don't know how to do it, and I'm able to do it. So I was listening to them, and I'm like, but we can do, why not? It's just approaching people so long as we have the right things, excuse me. And when we discussed, and to me it was very interesting to see people with their different types of patterns and vitiligo. I was now looking at it in a different way. And I was looking at it and I was like, wait. Now everyone started giving me their stories. And I'm listening to their stories. I'm like, it's almost similar to mine. And I'm listening to all the stories, and I'm like, no, there has to be change. This can't be a story for everyone. But now you see the people who are giving me stories, some are even, they don't believe in themselves. They're talking as if they're down, they're low, they're like wishy. And I'm like, this thing shouldn't be seen as a wishy. You should just embrace the way you are. So I started telling them, you guys, you know, we are unique, manze. We don't look like everyone else. And I started encouraging them. And little by little, I'd find people. I'm actually impacting their lives. I'm giving them positive energy, and they started believing, and we started doing the projects. And I remember the time for World Vitiligo Day, which is normally on 25th of June. We actually did a walk in town.
Wow.
And we gathered around, all of us. And when we were doing that walk, I remember when we were walking in Nairobi, the street kids all walikuwa nasema, oh yeah, you guys are walking in Kiswahili now. You guys are walking in the middle of town thinking you'll be given money because you've been burnt. And I'm like, this is the stigma I'm talking about. I need to hear these comments because now this is what is affecting people. That's why they're not able to leave and go and look for a job or leave their house. They're trying to hide their vitiligo because they feel people will judge them because of the comments and all that. And to me, I started feeling like, no, I should do something about this. And after that is when I started talking to people, going for interviews and all that, trying to educate people about vitiligo so that I may be able to help people understand what this is.
I feel like, we either, we are afraid of what we don't understand.
Yes.
Or we tend to, you know, find funny ways of explaining it away. The curses you talked about. The sijui weenda uombewe and all these different medications.
Yes. And you find people are really stigmatized. You know, as much as vitiligo is on the outside appearance, remember, psychologically, this person is getting affected because of the stigma outside there. You're meeting with people who are telling you, umechomeka, wengine wanakwambia ulipaka makeup, wengine, someone else is telling you, liba bwana wenyewe, ukamwagio acid. Like, there are so many maids around. Like, ama mama yako aliruka mkojo ya ma twins. You know, some things you're like,
on behalf of us, on behalf of watu wamesema hizo comments, please forgive us, apologies.
But the comments become many, and I'm like, this is why people are becoming depressed. Because of the outside, being judged by your outside appearance, yet you have not gotten to know someone inside.
And you see what you've said, this thing has affected all the decisions in your life.
Exactly.
It has affected you, Julie.
Yes.
Since you were a kid.
Yes.
All the moves you had to make.
Yes.
All the decisions you had to make.
Exactly.
You had to, and you were doing all this by yourself.
Yes.
Wow.
You suppress you because of the outside appearance.
And that means, like, even in terms of development, you see the way kids are developing and growing and moving.
Yeah.
Yours is sort of suppressed or uko nyuma.
Yes.
Because by the time you get to do something that any other child is doing, you've used so much energy to get there. Oh my goodness.
Exactly. Now you find, like, and especially it affects most of the teenagers. I'm telling you this because I remember when I started doing the awareness, you'd find DMs on my Facebook and you'd find the teenagers who are reaching out. And the sad part is that actually 3 or 4 of them died. They killed themselves because they couldn't handle the pressure of the bullying and all that in the schools and outside. Remember also, a parent plays a big role in a child. So if you find even the parent is not supportive of that child when he's having the condition, it doesn't matter whether it's vitiligo or albinism or you have a disability. How you treat that child really matters. It really matters. You need to build their strength when they're small. It doesn't matter whatever condition they have or sickness, it doesn't matter. You need to show that child that they are human beings like the rest. Even if it is working, let them work. Don't give them the special treatment, because the day you will not be there and they're used to that special treatment, what will happen? What will happen? You'd rather teach them how to live life as it is. Both show them the good side and the bad side. What is right, what is wrong. How you should treat someone whenever they are in this condition and or not. Like, build them from that small age. But the minute you try and dismiss them and you show them that you're not worth, you don't belong, you try and, like, separate them from the rest of the kids, like, because you're sick, you'll not go where the rest are going. You're secluding this child. Remember, this child will start having that thought that he or she is not worth to be with everyone else because they're different. And this is where you mess up their psychology. They start separating, they fall into depression, and they end up committing suicide. Something you would have avoided. And then later on you're regretting why I wasn't there for your child. No, you started separating your child from a very long time. And you're supposed to be there for them. Just listen. The part of that is called listen to your child. As much as we are parents, I'm saying it out of experience because I know I'm a mom and my child wants to come and tell me something and then I shut them off because maybe you've had a bad day and then you shut them off. That shouldn't be a reason. Because you've had a bad day, you don't listen to your child. Listen. Because the minute that child shuts off and knows there's no one around, they will try and get their way out, and their way out ends them up in very difficult places. Exactly.
Wow. Oh my God, I've really enjoyed this story, and I'm also learning. So tell me, what's the way forward, and what can you tell the rest of us about specifically, maybe just about vitiligo, and tell me what's your way forward. Like, now, what are you doing maybe about what's your society doing or foundation?
So basically, first advice would be for people who have vitiligo, acceptance is key. That's my message to you. Acceptance is key. You really need to accept yourself just the way you are. Always know that you're beautifully and wonderfully made. Don't look for validation or how people will tell you. You yourself know that. If you're looking for validation, look from God, Akianani. Look from God. Don't look from a human being. Because this is where your downfall begins. Because you want people to tell you that you're pretty, that you're... No. Believe it yourself. That you're beautifully and wonderfully made. Furthermore, you're unique. You're not like the rest. Take advantage of how you look and make the best out of it. That would be my advice to them. and accept yourself. And furthermore, right now, I think you finding companies and all that are employing people who have disabilities and all that. So don't feel shy about it. Walk out, help. Try to be out there. But acceptance is key. And don't take in the negativity. Take in the positivity. That would be my message to them. And then again, for people who do not have vitiligo, kindly just stop with the ignorance. Try and find out what vitiligo is and how how you should deal with someone who has. Try and help out someone. You know, even just listening to them complaining about how there's someone who looked at me, there's someone who fell because they were shocking me. Just listen to their stories. Give them a listening ear. So long as they'll speak out, that thing will come out of them. It will come out automatically. That is for the people who are around someone who has vitiligo. I know basically when you meet someone with vitiligo, it depends also the reaction. Like when I was coming here for the interview at the gate, when I was waiting.
You and the guards were very friendly.
No, even before that, I'd reached there was a lady who was just coming out from there, and she first stood and stared. And she stared for some time, and then she started smiling, and then, you're very beautiful. Aww. And I was like, thank you very much. You see the reaction she gave, I also felt happy, and I was already feeling good already. But now you stare, and then you look down, and then you maybe do sneer or do something. You'll end up killing someone's spirit. You see, those are the scenarios I'm talking about. So basically, actually, I started a foundation. It's called Royal Patches, and I started it in 2018. And my idea for starting it was to try and help out people with vitiligo to come out. As in, I can either be their agent, like try and speak to companies and all that. They go modeling, they go out there. So long as they can be able to build their confidence to be able to step out and be able to have events of people having this condition. Basically, that's why I started the foundation. And so far, it has grown. We are around 70 people so far. But I'm looking forward it will grow further because of the projects that are in store. Basically, we want to enter into the fashion industry in a major way. As much as we can catwalk, we can do all that. It's just the color is different, which I believe it's unique and should be in every fashion platform. That is me. There are DJs, there are poets, people are there. It's the confidence. They need to come out, and also people should give them an opportunity.
Wow. Goodness, I feel like I have had a whole, this was the perfect episode to start 2023. Thank you so much, Julie. Have you guys had Royal Foundation?
Royal Patches Foundation.
Is it like on social media
Yeah,
platforms?
the social medias are there.
Royal Patches Foundation,
or you can reach out to me, Julie Nasuju, especially if you need models and all that in your shows and everything. Holla, I'll hook you up. It doesn't mean that it will be me, but you will find someone.
Wow.
Yeah.
You guys heard. Thank you so much for watching. Have you had an experience with anyone living with vitiligo? And you can comment, like, share your thoughts. Have you learned something? Thank you so much for watching, and have a good one.